Because last time it messed up while I was trying to share it on the Just Good Network one, but hopefully let me be in good spirits. Let's see. Okay. Here we go. Videos. Let Russ cook. Oh, here we go. Share.
Right. When I find it, I'm gonna share it. I'm on my phone though, so yeah. When I find it, I'm gonna share it. I'm on my phone though.
Hold on.
All right, I see it. Let me see.
Public. Let me, because I had to change the name because I was supposed to go in another group and do some sports talk with about the Hawks. No, about the Falcons. I'm gonna do that later.
Gotcha.
All right, cool.
Second.
Okay. All right. Hold on. I gotta go on Twitter and do this now. I'll bring it in. Jansen Harris here with the final play on the Just Good Network. Joining me is Sean Fowle, like always. Sean, we gotta go live more, man. Just have a lot of fun with you all the time. Let's talk about these trades. Sean, Rondo to the Clippers. Does that make them a contender? Are you shocked about this? We heard rumors that the Clippers wanted a point guard. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I was kind of shocked. I know Lonzo Ball's name was mentioned in a lot of these trade rumors as well, possibly to the Clippers. That could be a good fit. This is Lonzo's best year. So I heard of his name before I heard of Rajon Rondo. But if you someone look at their game, they kind of have similar playing styles. So Rajon Rondo, to me, obviously he has experience. He's a two-time NBA champion. Just won a championship last year with the Lakers, and he was definitely, a huge asset to why they were successful. So for the Clippers, you trade Lou Williams. So he's a sixth man of the year a couple seasons ago. One of the when he gets hot, he's one of the better scorers overall in the game. So you kind of pick and choose what what you want to trade and what assets you want to give up. However, I feel like for the Clippers, they didn't really have a true point guard. You look at Patrick Beverly. He's more of a scrappy point guard. He's defensive. You don't really see him necessarily leading the team in assists like that every game. The Clippers haven't had really a point guard since Chris Paul, to be honest. So having Rajon Rondo there, I'm pretty sure he should probably be starting, or he's going to get at least enough playing time. He's going to be a serious threat into at least helping the Clippers out. Because again, he'll be their true point guard. He wasn't really doing much on the Hawks. I'm not saying he didn't have an impact, but we don't really expect that much from the Hawks this year. Now he goes to the Clippers. They're a title contending team. So I think when you look at it again, it was a smart move for the Clippers because they didn't have that true point guard other than Patrick Beverly being a defensive player, defensive mindset type of player.
Absolutely, man. When we talk about the Clippers, we have to talk about how they're, to me, the door is open. With the Lakers and their injury, Sean, the door is open. The door's open for them. And getting Rajon Rondo, a champion, a winner, that was a big trade because he goes from a Hawks team that was good. They were pretty good. But now this is a team, and even before that, they're the favorites in the West right now, Sean. They are the favorites in the West right now. And when I look at the circumstances, you have the Suns, you have the Jazz, who I'm high on the Jazz and the Suns. I love the story, but are they as good as Denver? Are they as good as the Clippers? I don't know, Sean. So I kind of like the trade. Let's talk about the Heat, though. Oladipo. They trade for him. He's kind of bounced around the league, but quietly he's averaged 21 points a game. Okay? Yeah. Quietly he's averaged 21 points a game. How do you feel about that trade?
I like the trade, man, because, the Miami Heat, I'm still going to give them their respect. They went to the NBA Finals last year, lost in 6 games to the Lakers, and it's a whole new season. You know what I mean? The Nets are the favorite to win the championship. Even if the Lakers are healthy, the Nets are that team out the East. We all understand that. But still, the Miami Heat is a scrappy team. You still have Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, and you have these guys where they have good chemistry, good teamwork. So when you bring a Victor Oladipo along, a guy like you said has been averaging 21 points a game. To me, before his injury, he was ascending almost to a superstar. I know you remember that 2018 season against the Cleveland Cavaliers, Jansen. You was a little, you're a LeBron lover. You was a little, is this going 7? And then there's some questionable calls late in that game 7, but LeBron took over. But Victor Oladipo was matching point for point, and then he got hurt. He was out most of the season, but he came back, and he's again, because the Rockets haven't been as successful this year. He hasn't. I don't think we've been giving him enough credit. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I think that for the Miami Heat, I think that's a good pickup because it gives less pressure off of Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler, we know he's a great defender. He can score. He's not really he's more of an old school player. Get you in the paint, the mid-range shot. He had a 40-point triple-double without only 3-point shots. That's crazy in the NBA Finals. So
absolutely,
having Oladipo, it's another guy who can score. It just adds more depth towards the Miami Heat team. So I like it for the Heat right now.
I like it too, Sean, because we were talking about the Heat. Let's talk about that culture real quick. Championship culture. Jimmy Butler. Gotta love it. Eric Spoelstra. And we talked a lot of crap about him. Oh, we can't do it without LeBron James. You know what? I was one of those guys. I can't say that anymore. I cannot say that. I love it because you got a guy who's now in position, potentially in the East. We could say it. Maybe Miami is contenders. Maybe they are. This could be the resurgence of Miami. They were slumping a little bit in the beginning. They're starting to get it together. They are starting to get it together, Sean. I love it. I love this move, and there's a lot of rumors like LaMarcus Aldridge is coming as well, too. Another savvy veteran. You bring in LaMarcus Aldridge, you're going to see what this team could do. We're going to see what this team could do. I think Miami, I'm not saying they're favorites in the East. I'm not saying both these moves put them where the Nets are or the Sixers, but they're in the mix.
Definitely.
We could easily say they're better than the Bucks, maybe. Bucks, they're hot right now, but can we trust the Bucks after what happened last year with them? So, look, man, interesting move.
Most definitely.
Interesting move. Let's talk about Aaron Gordon going to Denver. Denver, the 5th seed in the Western Conference, tied with the Lakers for the 4th. They probably overtake the Lakers. Lakers slumping, 3-game losing streak. How will this help Denver getting a player like Aaron Gordon, in your opinion, Sean?
Well, I feel like with Aaron Gordon, man, it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny because he was the identity of the Orlando Magic, So without Aaron Gordon, the slam dunk competition, things like that, it's like, he helped lead the Magic also to the playoffs last year. So, they're getting a guy in Aaron Gordon who as well has been averaging only 14, 0.6 points per game this year, 6 rebounds. But again, you're going to the Denver Nuggets. We've seen what the Nuggets did last year, coming back from 3-1 deficits twice in the playoffs, going to 5 games against the LA Lakers last year. It took Anthony Davis' game-winning shot for them to, ended in 5, I should say. But so the Nuggets, look, they're always right there because of Nikola Jokic, aka the Joker, Jamal Murray. He's been looking like I want to see if he can possibly continue that ascension like he had in the playoffs in the bubble last year with possibly becoming a superstar. I'm not going to crown him a superstar yet, but having Aaron Gordon, man, if he can at least continue to average 14 to 15 points a game, get rebounds, he's a big guy. He's not necessarily known, say, as an old school big man like a Joel Embiid, but at the same time, man, he's a big body. You know what I mean? Kind of reminds me of a younger Blake Griffin, so to speak. So I feel like if Aaron Gordon can continue to at least average what he did in Orlando, 14 to 15 points a game, at least almost average double figures in the rebound category, I think it could definitely help Denver, man, because Denver's really that close. I mean, Denver and Utah, Jansen, it doesn't look good on paper, but that can very well easily be the Western Conference Finals, if they continue to fight tooth and nail. So I think it's a good addition for Denver.
Absolutely, man. You look at Denver, First of all, I want to talk about Aaron Gordon a little bit because the way he was talking and going to management, he's tired of the losing, he's tired of this, he's tired of that. Sean, did I forget something about Aaron Gordon? Wasn't Aaron Gordon like the 4th pick in the draft? Aaron Gordon should have been like, I'm not going to say a superstar, but he should have been a legit number 1, 2 type of play, something. He's good, but he's not great. He's not good enough to be going to management talking about they're losing. This was a team, Sean, that went to the playoffs last year under Clifford. Went to the playoffs the year before. What do you expect from Orlando? Even though they just cleaned house.
Right.
And we're going to talk about Vucevic in a second, but Aaron Gordon, to me, has a lot to prove. He needs to prove that he could be a winning player. Want to go to a contender, want to be that 3rd, 4th guy on the team. He's the 3rd guy on this team, right? He needs to show up. He needs to be that piece. I'm assuming Denver thinks he's that piece to get them to the finals. Now, I don't think they're going to the finals, Sean. I'm just saying the thought, their mindset is he's going to get us close to the finals.
Right.
Get them to the Western Conference Finals. Back to the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to be enough. I feel like Aaron Gordon should be a lot better. Yeah, he can hit the mid-range shot. Yeah, he's very athletic. Yes, he's getting better. But let's not act like he wasn't hurt the first 2 years of his career. And that's my thing when it comes to him. Let's talk about his teammate. Really the guy on that team. Vucevic, 24.5 points a game, Sean, 11.5 rebounds. He gets traded to the Bulls. To me, this was out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Looks like Magic are in complete rebuild mode. What are your thoughts on this trade? To me, one of the most underrated guys in the league. How do you feel about this trade, Sean?
Most definitely. Like you said underrated. So like again, going to the All-Star game, say, it's actually a Magic that made the All-Star game, because we forget about Orlando. You know what I mean? They really haven't been relevant since they played the Lakers in the 2009 season, going to the finals that year with Dwight Howard, I should say. So I think it's good for Chicago. Chicago, Zach LaVine, I think that definitely makes a good 1-2 punch. Like you said, averaging 24 points a game. I think if he can get him and Zach LaVine, they have to, if they want to continue to make a playoff push. I don't believe they're in the playoffs as of right now. I don't believe so. I could be mistaken. Even though the playoffs start in a couple months as far as the seeding, but I think it's good for Chicago because they need another guy to help out with Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine, he is the face of the franchise. Obviously, he's going to continue to get better each season, averaging over 20 points a game this year as well. So I think it definitely helps for Chicago because they need someone to compliment Zach LaVine. For Orlando, like you said, they're just cleaning house. Hey, we're just going to start from scratch. Where we traded, we let go of our two of our better players, or at least the guys who help put fans in the seat. And so I think for the Bulls, it's good to help them possibly get a playoff push, or at least set up for the future. For the Orlando Magic, it's clean house, like you said, starting over.
Do you feel like this Bulls team now has confidence that they could get to the playoffs and this team can make a run? We really haven't seen the Bulls really do much, but with this trade, Sean, do you see the Bulls making the playoffs this year, actually doing something?
I mean, it depends. It depends because it's like it's most of the records in the Eastern Conference are so mumbo jumbo. Like I remember the Miami Heat a couple weeks ago, they were like the 10th or 11th seed. Now they're all the way, I think, in the top 5. So with the Bulls, they just got to get on a winning streak. The season obviously it's a condensed season, only 72 games. It's a couple months left. If they get on a winning streak, I believe having I can't pronounce his name. I know we just talked about him.
Vucevic,
yeah, I'm gonna say his name right. Having him compliment Zach LaVine, I believe they could possibly get a playoff push. But at the same time, I mean, it might be tough because the Eastern Conference is getting better. But again, a lot of those teams are really, a lot of the records are very close. So, I think they can possibly get it done. But you know what? If I was a betting guy, Jansen, I don't think they're going to get it done this year.
Yep, and back to Vucevic, man. You got a guy 40% from the three-point land. To me, man, this guy, they don't talk about him enough on ESPN, man, and these sports shows. They don't talk about him enough. I want to see what type of leadership he brings to this Bulls team because this Bulls franchise, I think that's what they lack is leadership, and they lack being aggressive in trades. When was the last time you seen a big move by the Bulls? So I think this was a statement move. They're 19-24 right now. They're trying to make a push. This is a team, and like you said, the Eastern Conference, everything changes so quickly. It's crazy. It's 1 week you could be the 4th seed, the next week you're the 8th seed. We saw how high the Hawks jumped up for a little bit. So anything could happen. And Dave, shout out to you, man, always supporting the channel. You're right. It looks like the Bulls have finally figured it out. Sean, what was your favorite trade of the day?
For me, my favorite trade of the day, it was the Victor Oladipo towards the Miami Heat. You know, I respect teams who really don't get the respect. I felt like the Miami Heat, you know, we talk about it off air. You know, some of our friends, if it wasn't a bubble, the Miami Heat wouldn't have came out the Eastern Conference. Hey, at the end of the day, everybody's playing the same way. Everybody has the same type of advantage. So let's see what you can do. The Miami Heat, they beat the Milwaukee Bucks, like I said, like I believe they would do. They beat the Boston Celtics in 6 games. You know, so. And they got to the NBA Finals and only lost in 6 to the Lakers. So I feel like having Oladipo, like we just discussed, I feel like that was the best trade because, you know, I didn't see that coming. I thought the Rockets, you know, they traded to get Oladipo, John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins this offseason. So seeing him go to the Miami Heat, it's like, wow, I guess the Rockets are just, they're just signing and trading guys. You know what I mean? Because obviously James Harden and Russell Westbrook already left. So it is what it is with the Rockets. But as far as for the Heat, I like the Oladipo trade a lot. I think it helps him with more depth. And I think I like this trade the most because I think this is helping the best contending team. You know, we talked about Aaron going to the Nuggets, but I think with Victor Oladipo to the Miami Heat, you know, they're still the Eastern Conference, you know, champions until they get knocked off most likely against the Nets. So I like Victor Oladipo going to the Heat, man.
And that's the thing right there, Sean. Let me piggyback off you a little bit. I want to see that dynamic with Jimmy Butler and Victor Oladipo. Are they going to be able to get along? Because we know not everybody could handle Jimmy Butler's personality, fiery personality, wanting to get better each and every day at practice. We know how intense that could be. So is Jimmy Butler going to say, hey, man, look, we got to go get the Nets. We have to go out there, play hard. We got to get better. Is he ready for that? Because we know there was a lot of losing going on in Houston. There was a lot of losing going to Houston. Bro. Just go. You feel me? But he was doing what he was doing. I want to see what he could do once these playoff games come. I want to see if we're going to get that old Victor Oladipo, who was challenging LeBron James, who was maybe that budding star or superstar, like you like to say, Sean.
Close.
Sean, let's talk about some of these questions we're getting in the chat right now. Jonathan Williams, shout out to you, man. What's up, Jansen? Why do you think the Celtics are struggling so much this season? That is a good question because I thought the Celtics would definitely be a top 3 seed. Looking at Jayson Tatum, thinking he's going to take this team to the next level with the chemistry. And I thought when you look at Kyrie Irving leaving that situation, I thought it was the best thing for them. I thought when Kyrie Irving left, this team was just going to rise to a new level. That's what I thought would happen. I'm kind of shocked. I don't know if they're responding to Brad Stevens. They're not that aggressive on offense. At times, they look lackadaisical. They look a little lazy to me. This team doesn't look hungry for some reason. Sean, why do you think the Celtics aren't as good as many people expected?
I agree with you, Jansen. You see, you know, they got a lot of talent. Jaylen Brown, Kemba Walker, obviously Jayson Tatum, and those guys. And you know, but it is something missing. And I think, ironically, you know, remember when Kyrie Irving first went there his first season, and we ended up seeing him getting hurt. They went 7 games with the Cleveland Cavaliers at the time. And it was like, man, this team was just as good without Kyrie. And you know, in some cases that could be true, but it seems like when push comes to shove, they need that closer, like a Kyrie Irving, like you know when he was there. And maybe Kyrie can't necessarily be quote unquote the best option on the team in order for it to be a championship team. Maybe that is true, but at the same time, when I look at the Celtics, I see a very young team. I see them possibly ascending, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm a Lakers fan, so I don't want to see them be that successful with the whole rivalry. But at the same time, when I look at them, I don't see a superstar yet. I think Jayson Tatum is the best player on the team. I think he's good. But like I said before, on a couple episodes before, I said I'd rather take a Donovan Mitchell over Jayson Tatum. I might even take a Zach LaVine over Jayson Tatum. I'm not saying that Jayson Tatum isn't that good, but I need to see a little bit more. I need to see that dog, that oomph in him. You know what I mean? And when I'm saying that oomph, guys, I'm just saying like this the ability to lead your team to win. Because I remember that in the Eastern Conference Finals, it was sometimes he had some cold stretches against the Miami Heat. Like it was going back and forth. They won 6 games. It's not like they got swept, and they competed. So I'm not saying Jayson Tatum. I think for him, because to me, I think he's the best overall player on that team. I think he needs to continue to help lead them and lead them over the hump. They got pieces. Brad Stevens isn't a bad coach. He's been there, but he's been there for at least over 4 to 5 years now, Jansen. So it's time to start raising questions, because the Boston Celtics have a history. Obviously, we know their history, and they haven't had a championship. They only had one championship with the Big Three. So I know the Boston fans are expecting a lot of stuff. It's a good question by Jonathan. So I think I need to see a little bit more out of Jayson Tatum and those guys when push comes to shove late.
Absolutely. When I look at Jayson Tatum, I do think he's better than Zach LaVine, by the way. But I'll say this about him. I need to see that hunger. I need to see maybe him being more vocal in the locker room, maybe him taking more command of this team. Jaylen Brown, we know he's stepped up. We know he's an all-star player now. I need to see these guys mesh even better. But I do agree with the Brad Stevens thing. Brad Stevens at first looking really good. Think of this team, maybe championship team. Oh, the Celtics have all these pieces. Are they going to move Marcus? Did move Marcus Smart. How long has he been on the trading block, Sean?
Exactly.
How long has he been on the trading block and they not move him? So the Celtics have a lot of questions. Danny Ainge, there's a lot of questions around him, man.
Yeah.
Are they going to they can't make a move now? Was it the deadline right now? They can't make a move. They didn't make a move.
Yeah.
So I want to see how the Celtics finish, because right now it's a disaster. Everybody threw Kyrie under the bus, like I said before, saying, oh, it's Kyrie Irving's fault. And I thought it was too, but it looks like it was a little bit more than Kyrie Irving. Yeah. Maybe Jayson Tatum isn't that player we think he is yet. Maybe we gave him too much credit too early. Maybe he did that with Jaylen Brown. And I thought Marcus Smart was going to get traded. Why didn't he get traded? Here's another question. Who do you guys have leading the MVP race? I'm going to say it right here is James Harden. He's healthy. He's motivated. He wants to win a championship. He's in shape. He's scoring. He's distributing the ball. He wants to prove he's a winner. Because what was the narrative on him, Sean? Oh, he's a loser. He can't win big games in Houston. Couldn't win big games with the Thunder. I think it's definitely James Harden's award to lose. What do you think, Sean?
Dame time, man. It's Dame time. If you want to answer that question, I'm gonna give you two straight, man. I say it's Dame time because it is LeBron James, Joel Embiid. Those are it was going back and forth between those two, I believe. James Harden is definitely in consideration, but seeing that those two are out with injuries right now, I got to go with Damian Lillard. And I spoke about this on another podcast a couple of days ago. But I'm saying Damian Lillard because of this. Okay, the Portland Trail Blazers, to me, they're in a tougher conference, right? He's averaging 30. He's averaging 30 points, 8 assists, a game. CJ McCollum, the second best player on the team, was out majority of the season. Just came back last week. He's back. Obviously, he's going to help the team out. Joseph Nurkic, he's still out currently right now, and he has injury problems. He was out a couple years ago when they went to the Western Conference Finals. They grabbed Enes Kanter, who I believe is an underrated big man. He's doing very well, this season. He gets a lot of boards, and he's always putting back. He's always getting the putbacks as well. So, but with Damian Lillard, I think we agree he's the best closer in the NBA right now as well. So I feel like if we're talking the most valuable player, and I know that's what it stands for, but it's usually go by the statistics. The best individual season, I should say. I got to go with Damian Lillard, man. I think he's doing more with a little bit of less. I'm not going to sit here and say the Portland Trail Blazers are some scrub team, because they got your boy Carmelo Anthony. He looks good. He almost looks like he looks like Knicks Melo a little bit. He's averaging 15 points a game. Gary Trent Jr. can shoot the ball. I already mentioned Enes Kanter. Gary Trent. Oh, I just said Gary Trent, but CJ's back, so they got some shot makers on that team. But I feel like as far as the MVP, I'm gonna have him number one and James Harden number two. I just feel like with James Harden being out, even though KD's been out for half the season, you can still rely on possibly a Kyrie Irving or a Kevin Durant. But because it's not hypothetical, so I don't want to set that up. But James Harden definitely he deserves to be in the MVP race. So I'm gonna have him number two, slightly towards Damian Lillard right now. Even though they did in Portland. Do
you feel like, Sean, I know he's your guy. He's having a great season, no doubt about that. Do you think his team's success will play in that fact when it comes to the MVP race? Because we know traditionally it's been that for the most part. Do you think that would weigh it in between James Harden and Damian Lillard? I know you got Dame, but do you think that's going to be a factor? Because the Nets right now, they're in second place. It looks like they could get that first place.
I believe it. I believe it can be, but at the same time, I mean, it depends what happens. When Russell Westbrook when he won the MVP, he did average a triple double, which is the biggest reason. I think they were the seventh seed. You know what I mean? So I think it depends. But if Portland can at least get, because they're the sixth seed, I believe right now, if they can at least get a top 5 seed in the Western Conference, I should say, and if they were going to have a series, Portland facing the Brooklyn Nets fully healthy, we will both expect the Brooklyn Nets to win because it's just too much firepower. It's too many superstars on the same team. So I think that's a good question, Jansen. I think that could possibly weigh as a factor. But I feel like if Damian Lillard continues to close the games like he's been doing and gets a top 5, at least a top 5 seed within the Western Conference, man, I think he possibly could get the edge. But James Harden, I'm not going to ignore what he's doing. He's arguably the best player in the NBA right now.
Absolutely, leading the league in assists. And look, man, James Harden's shocking me a little bit. I knew this Nets team, even before we went there, I felt like they'd go to the finals. I still feel that way. I think James Harden is taking upon himself to say, look, day in and day out, I'm going to be the best player in the league. I'm going to show you guys I could be the best player in the league on the best team. That's what he's showing us right now. The Nets are currently the favorites to win the championship. We know before that it was the Lakers, healthy Lakers, which they're looking like a disaster right now without their 2 best players, their 2 superstar players that won a championship last year for them. I think it's the Nets championship to lose, and James Harden knows that. This is his window. This is his opportunity to win a championship. This is his best chance to win it. This is his time. They could get past Philly. They get past Milwaukee. The Clippers, maybe the Lakers have a strong push. This is the time that James Harden's saying, you know what? This is my team. My team. I'm going to be the MVP of this team. When Kevin Durant comes back, he's going to do his thing. When Kyrie just plays consistently, we're still going to be in sync. And I think James Harden, he's that consistent motor for the Nets. And I think that's going to drive him to the finals. I think he's going to win the MVP and maybe even the finals MVP, Sean. Maybe, man. Maybe. I don't know. I gotta see how they come when they're healthy.
I got you, man.
I gotta see when they're healthy. But Sean, thanks for joining me on the Final Play on the Jessica Network. Me and Sean, we're gonna go live every single week. We're gonna be talking about NBA trades, which we did today. We're gonna be talking about seeding. We're gonna be talking about football, boxing, UFC, the whole 9 yards. Sean, appreciate you joining me on this live. Love doing it, man. Had a lot of fun.
Appreciate it a lot, man. Have a blessed night.